All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us again for the next great edition here of the Moving Beyond the Coronavirus Economy as we have transitioned our name here. And I am so thrilled to have with us today just a really awesome concept. I've got Phil Mettra here with Zoracle, and I've been working in and around Phil and his team and company for quite some time. They've got an awesome product for franchising that I'm excited for him to share with you about. And it's all about helping you identify the right fit for your brand, finding that right franchisee to make sure it's a right fit for you, or at least better understanding the people coming into your system. And so, with that being said, Phil, I'd love to turn things over to you and let you take it away.
All right, Tom, thank you so much. Welcome, folks. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things. I'm going to answer 5 questions, maybe more. Number 1, as a prospect, how do I really know that I would be a right fit for franchising? Number 2, as a franchisor, is it enough to know that my candidate has money to buy a franchise? Number 3, as a broker, how can I tell I have a qualified prospect? Number 4, what's the difference between demographics and psychographics? And number 5, as a franchise development rep, how can I make sure I have enough information on a candidate to bring them on or send them away? So no matter how big your brand is, it still comes down to the right fit franchise. And Tom, you know that. So that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Welcome to Zoracle Profiles, folks. So today I'm just going to go through some slides, and I don't know, Tom, if there's a question and answer at the end. That's great too.
Yeah. So Phil, just to let you know, we will take this. We've got it looks like a handful of folks that are on with us here. So I would
Good.
suggest if
Yeah.
you're open to taking questions kind of throughout, we can have Q&A. Type it in the chat
Absolutely.
box. Type it into the Q&A section.
Sure.
So as questions, thoughts, comments pop up, I'll
Yeah.
interject and say and ask the questions as they come along.
That sounds great. That sounds perfect. So let's get started. Whoops. Oh, hello. There we go. Technology. Oh, this is me a few years ago. As we look at lead generation today, a lot has changed, okay? And it's time to put some science into the lead generation. I think that we'd all agree about that. The days of throwing things up against the wall and see if they stick are long gone, all right? And that's why we're here today. And again, as you have questions, just put them in the chat box there, and I'd be more than happy to answer them with you. So why choose Zoracle Profiles? Now, Zoracle's been around for a long time. Rebecca Monet is our CEO and chief scientist. She's been at this for 30 years, all right? Myself, I've been in franchising for 27. So we're old, but we're new, all right? So we're keeping up with everything out there. So basically, Zoracle Profiles is franchise specific. We really don't do anything else in any other category or anything else. We're all things franchising, and the tools were developed for that. So I'm going to talk first here a little bit about the franchisor side. So we do customizable assessments, all right? And that's basically, we do what's called a meta-analysis methodology. Sounds real sexy, I know. So our meta-analysis approach integrates 7 different statistical validated science all into one profile. That's what we do with the franchisors. So we can literally determine compatibility of your prospect to the brand, and we also can predict how they're going to perform if they are brought on. So it's really, the tool is designed to assist all franchise systems, both the brokers as well as the development folks on the franchisor side. So it's a win-win combination all the way through. And I can say very, very surely that we are the most robust profiling tool out there in franchising today. So let's talk about.
And I would just interject there really quickly, Phil, to say that, for the folks tuning in, Zoracle, as he said, is the only assessment tool that is focused on franchising. There are a lot of different kinds of
Yeah.
personality assessments and this and that and
Hmm.
so on. But this one is specific to franchising and understanding the nature of the relationship between a franchisee, a franchisor. So anyway,
Yeah.
just that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons we wanted Zoracle to come on and talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tom. That's you're spot on. No pun intended. So here's the difference, and maybe you guys already know this, and gals, um, but there is a difference. Most, if you're not using a profiling system, you're only working with demographics, which is age, gender, location, employment, how much money I have. That's all demographic information. But with Zoracle, our focus is on psychographic information, personality, values, attitudes, interests, lives. We literally we deliver the heart and the mind of your prospect. Okay. And that's the difference between the two. Now, we do capture some demographics at the top, but most of all, everything else that we do are all psychographic information. So if nothing else today, you walk away being know that the difference between the two. And they're very critical because it's not a one-side game. It's really a double hit. Here are some of the brands that we have on board today. We have about 185 franchisors in all walks of life, from emerging brands to large brands. Zaxby's just finished theirs, so it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you, because it doesn't matter how small you are, you still need this tool and start out right. Um, Here's some more. Some you may have heard of, some are brand new to you. Press Waffle is a great brand. They were on Shark Tank. We did the top performer blueprint with them. So that's a great brand as well. So here's the franchisor's dilemma. All right. I'm spending a little time because I don't know, Tom. I mean, if you have any franchisors on here or
We
not.
do. We do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, we've got some
So,
franchisors and
good.
franchise brokers.
Great. So, as you know, franchisors, when you get somebody that's not a great fit, and of course, it's never happened to you before, I'm sure, but if you do, it's very costly. A poor fit franchise costs you more to train and support. They tend to validate poorly. They're difficult to satisfy, frequently cause litigation problems, and have low retention rates if they go back to them. So, again, our job at Zoracle, as well as the brokers that are working with our tools, our job is to help you find that right fit franchisee. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right. Because we don't want to have that dilemma. All right. And it does happen. It happens every day. You just kind of, like I said, the days of throwing things up against the wall and think, well, they got the money, everything's okay. It's not. All right. It's time to step up and move forward. So here are the 7 sciences, and I won't go into great detail. I'm not the scientist, that's Rebecca, but we cover values, and these are business values, and that's coming out of Stanford research out of Dr. Claire Graves. Our stages of growth. Every brand has a stage of growth, from emerging brand to the budget blinds, the massage envies, huge brands. And that study is coming out of Neil Churchill, out of the Caruth Institute. Culture, how every brand has their own culture. A lot of times I'm asked by brokers, well, they're senior care, they're all the same. They're not. They're not even close to the same. So every brand has their own culture, and your prospect needs to be able to fit into that culture or not. All right. And that's coming out of the University of Michigan. Work Style, which is actually the DISC program, is William Marston, Harvard Business School. You may have taken that profile in your career in the past, but we have that in there. Core competencies. This is a great one. This is almost like it comes out of Strengths Finder and Gallup. So the core competency, you kind of rank yourself of who you are, and I'll show you what that looks like going forward here. Focus, big time focus is basically almost a sports kind of profile. It's out of Dr. Robert Netford in the University of Rochester, but how do you focus? How do you spend your day? Can you focus on this? Can you focus on that? We all know that great franchisees need to focus on a lot of things to be successful, and that's measured in our profile. And then last, the big kahuna here, the emotional and social intelligence. out of Dr. Daniel Goleman. Many of you may have done some research, but these are the 7 key research studies that we have in our profile. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay, good.
Oh, well, I had a quick question just to interject there, just to have you talk about these. So within Zoracle, because each of these, I'm familiar with some of these just by, with DISC and with Strengths Finder. Those are some popular ones, but these are all one piece of what you're putting together. It's all included in it.
Absolutely. And it's very, you wouldn't know it. I mean, the regular consumer every day would not know it's all in there, but it is. And it's all analytically placed in there. And it just works. It really does. And it really comes, we say our spot on science, but it really is. And, the exciting thing, Tom, is when a broker or even our development person's on the other side and going through the person, whether it's a candidate or a prospect profile, and they're shaking their head. Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's me. That you can't ask for anything better than that. All right. That the spot on profile delivers trust and relationships. All right. And if I'm asking you to spend $500,000, trust and relationships is a big deal. But that's what the profile does. Again, we're delivering the heart and the mind of your prospect, and there's nothing better than that. And when they take the profile, if they're a prospect, they got immediate skin in the game. All right. They really are interested. And the more that you can go through it with them, and it just it's so great to listen to brokers, even beginning brokers and senior brokers. They just love it because it gives them an upper edge on everybody else out there by using the tool. Okay, moving on. So here are the 7 steps. And it all comes into the spot on profile, and it's phenomenal. Now, one of the things that we do only with the franchisors, and this is the big step here, is we do what's called a top performer blueprint. All right, we sit down on the first stage with the executive team, and we go through the standards and benchmarks of the research that we're going to do. All right. And so we go through, and Rebecca usually does that. It's about 32 questions in 90 minutes. But having the executive team there, anybody who's going to touch those franchises, it's magic, because they're all sitting down and trying to find out, how do we get more of the top performers on board? Then the second step is what we do is we assess the current franchise system, and they take the spot on profile. So we take the top, the middle, and the low or the bottom part of the current franchise system, and they're taking the spot on profile. When that's done, we put together it all in our analytics, and we come up with a 50 to 60 page blueprint now for that brand. It's unique to their brand. As I said, every brand is uniquely different. So the whole purpose of this is kind of measuring that top performer and getting more of those on board. All right. And the final outlay is the Eclipse report. And that's kind of similar to the spot on profile, but it goes much deeper. And I'll show you that shortly. So that is our 4 steps to the top performer blueprint. And that's what we execute with the franchisors. And then obviously the development team of that brand takes it from there using the Eclipse report. That link can go on the franchisor's website. It can be used in marketing, whatever that is, but it's a great report and very much in depth. Any questions on that, Tom?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. Most of our clients that we're working with are just launching into the franchise business. They're maybe now that successful entrepreneur or business owner that's now launching, and maybe they are selling their first, or they're selling somewhere between their first and 10th, somewhere in that neighborhood. Would you talk through how this could work in that scenario, or how you work with those brands?
Yeah, so it's, again, we work with emerging brands all the time. We've got great lead powers out there, but how we do that, we do the same thing. We just basically, whoever's on the team, and they could have 1 or 2 or 3 franchises or none. All right, it doesn't really matter, because that standards and benchmarks, we are for our emerging brand, we are laying the foundation. All right. And here's the great thing. So we'll just have everybody on the executive team plus whatever, 1-2 franchises, they will take that spot on profile, and we'll just start there. And then we can acquiesce different categories in there. So it becomes, the blueprint is still be the blueprint. Now, what we do also, Tom, is as that emerging brand grows, let's say 3 years, 4 years, they get bigger, the things change, whatever that is, we do that same blueprint again at no cost to them. All right, because they would have changed. And that's how we stay with our franchisors over a long time. All right. And so that's how we would assess it. So it doesn't matter the size. The data still is all about the data. It might be, as it grows, it's going to change, and we stay with you on that. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on. So when we start the process with the franchisors, once they do the top performer blueprint, then we're all ready to go. We set up their accounts, and you can see this is the profile. And obviously everything's designed, and it's all branded for the franchisor. And this is what the development team would use on that side to take the profile. Now, let me just say on the consumer side, it takes maybe 10 minutes to 12 minutes to take this profile. All right. And that's it. So it's not an hour kind of thing. We encourage the prospect to take the profile immediately. Don't go to Costco and come back. Don't have a fight or something like that, because it will get skewed that way. So take it all at once. We have a full privacy policy with the federal government that this information cannot be shared with anybody, and that works from that point. So anyway, so that's how that gets started. Then the profile comes back into the dashboard here. Every development person in this case, and I'm going to get to the brokers, but the development folks, they have their own dashboards, no matter how many development people are there. And so when it is sent out, they take the profile, it comes back into the dashboard so they can monitor things. And so they can see the spot on report here. And then they can also look at the Eclipse report, which I'm going to show you here in a second. And so this is very easy to use for the development people. Now, when we finish the top performer blueprint, we make sure that we train the development people on all things Zoracle. So nobody is, blown away by the science or anything else. And we make it second nature for them. So they have easy access to this data, and they can download it. They can send reports to the CFO, whatever they need to do, they can get that done. So again, as a development person, I can see as they come in, here are my prospects. Here's Tom, Charles, Nanny. There comes the fit. So I know that what size of the fit they are to my brand. 99% fit, 97, 96. These are all great candidates. All right. But to me as a development person, this is my first step in that process. So I kind of know exactly on the values, SOGs, stages of growth, culture, work style, you name it, I've got the information. This is valuable information. This helps me as a development person to ask more probing questions, right? So again, a lot of franchises just absolutely love this. Any questions on this, Tom?
I do not have any, and I don't see any in the chat box here.
Good. So again, I show these tools to you because this is what you're buying into, all right? And this is what we support. We have a full IT department that's making it better every day. So, but again, the development people love this. Just think if they didn't have this, it would be just demographic information and gut feel. So the days of gut feel are over. It's on to the science. Here's just a snapshot of a spot on Eclipse. So again, they summarize here and it goes into greater detail. I won't go into that, but definitely this is the franchisor's dream to have this kind of information. Okay, let's talk to the brokers now, if that's okay. And I know that maybe you don't call them brokers, advisors or whatever it is, but I call them brokers. All right. So again, as a broker, you don't do really any selling, right? You're a coach, uh, uh, you're an advocate for your prospect, and that's great. But you know what? It's impossible. A lot of broker groups have well over 400 brands to deal with, so there's no way to understand how all these candidates and where they would fit. So we definitely are focused on the Z to Zor fit, and that's what we do. So I coach the brokers using the tool, and they love it. We have great senior brokers from all over the country and all different brands as well. And of course, Tom, you guys use it, so that's good too, huh? So
That's right.
yeah. So anyway, again, how do we, it's especially new brokers. It's like overwhelming. So we try to dummy things down to make it easy so they can understand their prospects. So again, we set up, every broker has their own dashboard. They have their own account. So whatever their name, in this case, Big Sky, this would be splattered all over there. Again, same process. They are sending out the profile. I always coach the brokers to, after they get off the first call, and that you don't have a tire kicker on there, then present the profile. And one of the things that we always support is that it's your profile. In this case, Big Sky, whatever it is, it's your profile powered by Zoracle. So you immediately have that, you know what you're talking about, right? So that, again, we're going to deliver that trust and that relationship with the broker to the prospect, which is huge. The more professional kinds of tools that you have to do this, you'll get through it. All right. Half the battle is getting down to that. How many brands should I present, and all those kinds of things. Well, we have a process on that too. Here's, again, similar to what I showed with the development person, but this is what the broker sees. All right. So they literally have the profile. It comes into them when that prospect takes it. It comes into their email, and it comes into their dashboard. And they also have the prospect report, which is a little bit different than the spot on profile. And then, of course, the spot on match program, which we launched last year. This is becoming a great tool for brokers, and I'll show you how that works. So this is the new spot on match program. Okay. So again, like I said, we have about 185 brands out there. And so they're matching up. This is Kurt, and he took the profile and he matches up to the 10 brands. We took the top 10 brands out of that 185, and this is what it's showing up with your team. So now, Tom, I know that you have franchisors that you work with, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, I mean, we can make this adjustment so your brokers are just seeing the match of those brands too. So that can show up here. But again, as a broker, wow, okay, half the battle is, what 3 am I going to present or what have you. But here it's very clear. Now we have 10 different brands here in all different ways. So you have the overall fit, you have the business values, stages of growth, culture, work style, on it goes. Now, a lot of times what I coach is that some of these brands may not be part of that brokerage or whatever that is, but I teach them to go by the categories. All right. So if it's not one of our brands, then definitely you can look at the category and you can see, let's take, for instance, waxing the city. All right. So Kurt is a 94% overall fit, but maybe waxing the city is not part of the broker group's portfolio. Then take the category, which would be probably spa or whatever. Can't say that it would be a 94, but it would be in the 90s, and go from that point. All right. Now, the other thing that we do have here is the spot on match. So for instance, let's take one that we all kind of know. Let's take Office Pride. I think everybody knows that's commercial. I think that's a commercial one. Yeah. So basically, so if there's a match here, then the broker would just, all they have to do is go back in the back office, make sure the territory is available, and then they just come over here to the refer button, and they click on refer, and it takes that spot on profile and pushes it over to Office Pride as an Eclipse report, and that's all they need to do. All right, and then of course track it like you normally would. So any questions on this? Because this has been a great, this has kind of evolved over time, and it's getting better and better. Tom, questions?
No, I think this looks great. I really like this feature. It's really nice.
Yeah, and again, it's education, because that's half the battle. I mean, you get a prospect and they go, oh yeah, I want a McDonald's, and that's all I want. You know, I mean, they have no idea what franchising is all about, but sometimes they really don't have any clue what there would be a good fit for. And that's all we're doing here. Now, whether the broker goes here or there, it doesn't matter. It just shows you that there is a fit within that category, and you can take it from there and go into your own portfolio and pick those out. So that's a great thing. Okay, let's move on. So again, science, technology, that's what we're all about. We have state-of-the-art technology, branded site, reports, all branded, customizable, mobile. You can do it on your iPhone, whatever. So we can also integrate into your CRM. So if you're a broker group or whatever, we can integrate to that, or a development franchisor. Everything is secure. We've gone through a lot to that lately. And so again, we have the lead and prospect analytics. So anyway, that's what we are. And again, training, we stand by your training, whether you're a broker or you're a development person on the franchisor side. We're coaching, technical support, whatever you need, we're there. And I take care of most of on the broker side, but Rebecca does on the franchisor side. So that's who we are. And I thought what we do next, Tom, and that's me. So we would maybe look at a profile. Would that work?
Sure.
Okay. So let me get out of this. And I don't know if he's on any questions so far. No.
Not at this point. I don't see anything typed in. And to the folks tuning in, feel free to type in the chat box or click on raise your hand or something, and I can unmute you if you have a specific question you'd like to ask as well.
Okay, so I don't know if Brian is on. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, Brian is. Yeah, Brian's here.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. So if you're okay, just raise your hand if I can go through this profile. I should have asked that first. Is that okay, Brian?
He raised his hand.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, Brian, I can see you there. All right. So, so Brian is a franchise consultant with Big Sky, and he took the profile. So basically, I'm going to go through this as if Brian was a prospect, if that's okay. All right. Because that's the way I kind of teach. So basically, you can see this first section here. This is all what? This is all demographic information. I see Brian 61. The young guy. So,
hey, Phil, your screen is, I'm still seeing your PowerPoint if you're looking to show that.
Okay, so I wonder what happened here. Let's see, he's sharing his pause. Okay, so resume the share maybe. Did it change?
No, maybe stop sharing for a second and then reshare it.
Okay, stop share. Okay, there we go. Okay. Did that work?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see that? Because it's pretty small.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So again, this is all demographic information. So I know that as a broker or even on the development side, there's probably more demographic information and forms you're going to do, but at least we give you kind of a first stage section on the demographic information. But again, like I said, we're all about psychographics. That's what we're delivering. We're delivering the heart and the mind of your prospect. So let's go. I'm going to go past the summary page, and then we'll get right into this first section here for Brian. So again, Brian, this is black and white here. There's no algorithms here. So he ranked himself, these are his business values, as 1, dependability, 2, contribution, 3, results, 4, security, 5, satisfaction, 6, respect, and 7, innovation. From that, we see that Brian is a belonger. All right. So what is a belonger? A belonger is a hands-on business builder focused on the long-term relationships and customer satisfaction, motivated by a deeply rooted moral code. All right. So Brian, is that you? You can raise your hand. It can tell me that. So for him, it's about ROI for sure, but it's all about purpose. So he goes through life with a purpose rather than it's just not all about the money. All right. Family, security, those types of things are important for Brian. So as a potential franchisee, great, I'll take a belonger anytime. All right. I know that he's going to care. He's going to care about his team. He's going to care about his customers, and will get things done because he's a hands-on business builder. And so as a potential franchisee, being a belonger is a very positive thing. Okay. Any questions on that? Values. Again, as a broker, you're going to review this with your prospect, just like I'm doing. And what are you going to get on the other side? Your prospect is going, that's me. That's me. What's happening? Relationship, trust. It's happening, whether you know it or not. They've already shared with you who they are. Now it's your job to quantify, qualify that information. Okay, moving on. So we got all belonger, and we have training on each one of these aspects here. So nobody needs to go haywire on me because it's all in there. And I also will train them as well. Okay, how are we doing on time, Tom?
We are fine. Yeah, okay. We're going fine.
Okay, great. There's 2 secret weapons in this spot on profile. Here's one, okay? So we call these splatter dots, all right? And these are values given greater attention due to the current situation or recent life change. So a splatter dot is something that I call kind of skittywampus, all right? I'm old, I can say that. It's something that's a little bit sideways, all right? Let me give you an example. I had a broker the other day call me and say, Phil, I got a candidate here who's got a huge splatter dot. I said, what is it? It's trust. I said, well, did you ask him what it was about? He goes, I did. He's getting a divorce. Oh, okay. So, all right, again, delivering the heart and the mind. They're sharing everything with you, all right? In this case, we have here 3 splatter dots. One is results, 1 respect, and 1 innovation, all right? So what I teach the brokers to do is just ask, how do you feel about results, respect, and innovation in your life right now? And then stop and let them respond to you. That's the best way to do it. It's not a negative. It is, but it gives you more information to know exactly where they are right now when they took that profile, all right? And so you should be taking notes as you go through this. But that's what a splatter dot is all about. Again, it's just connecting with your prospect in many way, or if you're on the development side, same thing. You're really connecting with them. And, that's what it's all about, how they can trust you to make that right decision. Make sense? Okay. All right. Now here's stages of growth. Like I said before, the stages of growth, every brand has a stage of growth, and from the left to the right. So the stage 1 are the entrepreneur stage, which is the emerging brand, maybe 5 franchisees, a little bit more risky sometimes not. Stage 2 is a partner brand, maybe 30 franchises or so. And then stage 3 is a plug and play. Now, this is all described down below here. You can see that. Stage 3 is probably 100 franchisees or more. All right, you can literally plug yourself in and off you go. Empire brands are the budget blinds, the massage envies. They're huge. They have thousands of franchisees. And then the hybrid brands are that neighborly, Kahala brands, all right? We're kind of this corporate structure, and they own the brands underneath them. And so that's what a hybrid brand. So we're saying here that Brian would fit best in an empire or hybrid situation. So if you took it virtually here from left to right, it's more secure, so to speak, the further you go right. All right. But most of the brokers are going to see folks that are probably a partner or a plug and play situation. All right. Any questions on that? Again, this is, and all it's saying basically, it doesn't mean on the broker side that even though they're best for these two sections, that they don't end up over here on a stage 2 or stage 3. All we're saying is through the analysis that we've done, those are the best areas or brands in this category, that he would be the best for. Make sense? Okay. All right, let's go to culture. Now, every brand has their own culture. In this case, we see that he fits best in a collaborative culture. All right, this is basically, he's all about being part of a group or a team. All right, so leaders are considered to be mentors, parental figures, group loyalty, all things that make a great franchise. And some franchises are like that, and some of them are not like that at all. All right, I fit best in a create culture. All right, so everybody's going to be uniquely different. But again, as a broker, or a development person, I'm taking notes here. Is this a good fit, or is it, what will be the good fit for this prospect? And it all adds up for you. Okay, moving on. And we also always have a company here that's kind of is a placeholder in that collaborate, control, compete, or create culture. Okay, work style. Brian is a connector, so that's great. I would like to have a prospect that is going to be a connector. Connectors go out there and they make it happen. All right, and you can see very clearly that he's outstandingly in that part. It's all about relationships. He's accepting, connecting, listening, teamwork. Under stress, he might become a little submissive and indecisive, and insensitivity drives him nuts. Now, if Brian was there face to face with me and he's going, yep, that's me. All right. That's what we want. All right. But that's a work style. So every one of these sections, the brokers or the development people should be taking great notes. This is our brand, or these are the 3 brands that they talked about. Would they be a good fit? Hard to say. But this helps in that process. Okay, moving on. These are kind of keywords that go along with that. Competencies. I should have checked on Brad Smith. Tom, do you know who Brad Smith is?
Brad Smith, no.
Okay, look it up while I'm talking. So anyway, the broker should look at that first before you present and know who Brad Smith is. He's a very entrepreneurial executive, but I can't remember where he goes. But anyway, so Brian basically set up here. These are his core competencies. All right, this is what he does best. All right, so what I teach here is that he's got high executive management, high customer service, and we talk about that. So tell me about, Brian, a little bit about your executive training there and customer service. And then let's also talk about, you're a little low on sales. You ranked yourself low on sales. How do you feel about sales? Again, you're digging into, he's already sharing with you what he does best. All right. And every single franchise is uniquely different. And there's certain competencies that you need to be a great a franchisee for, a restaurant or home services or whatever that's going to be. This is where it starts, pulling that information out, and it's all right there. So that's what I teach on the 8 competencies. Good stuff. And know who Brad Smith is before you present it to your prospect. Okay, sales and business. All right, sales orientation, relational, no surprise there. And then over here, the potential business path. So Brian, he could go back to work as a corporate climber, all right, which is always kind of a red flag for a broker going, okay, are you in this, or are you going to go back to looking for a job? I always coach that process. But Brian also is a consultant, which he is right now. So a lot of times you'll also see down here, these are checked, all right? And they may have never been in franchising at all, but they have the skill set. All right. Their past business skill set would make them a single unit franchise or a multi-unit franchise. All right. But a wonderful opportunity to educate your prospect on what is a multi-unit franchise or what is a regional developer, even though you don't know if they have the money yet or whatever it is. But it's education. You're engaging them even further. Make sense? Okay, good. Okay, needs and wants in a franchise. Boy, how would that be to have that information right up at the front before you even get down to your process? So on the left, you have the needs. This is what I need in a franchise business. And the right side is what I want in a franchise business. Great stuff. And I just coach basically, pick 2 or 3 on the side of needs and 2 or 3 on the sides of wants, and just ask the question to them. So you're qualifying and quantifying what they really mean. You know, for instance, I don't even see it on here, but sometimes we talk about a legacy income. Do they understand that most agreements are 10 years? Some are going to 5 or whatever. Again, educate, educate, educate. This is what this is all about. So as you're in the beginning stages here with this relationship, which is awesome, because the more they know in the beginning, the faster they're going to come down to you presenting 2 or 3 brands or what have you. So that's what this tool is all about. Okay, the last section here. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, so Brian, bless your heart. All right, so everybody has a comfort zone. Okay, and let me give you an example. I had a broker the other day call me and he says, Phil, I got this guy. He lost his corporate job. His wife's all over him. He wants an insurance franchise, but I can't get this guy to move. I said, Bob, did you look at his comfort zone? No, I didn't. Well, let's look. Extra large. Okay. So everybody has either a small, medium, large, or extra large. The larger the comfort zone, the less likely they're moving forward anytime soon. Okay. So ironically, Brian here has an extra large comfort zone. All right. Their family oriented, security conscious nature could cause caution. They are likely either comfortable as is or unsure about change. Connect, reassure, and slow down. We're telling you how to work with Brian. All right. So every one of your prospects are going to be totally different here. Small, medium, large, extra large. And then we tell you how to work on motivating his decision making, how to relate with him, and his frame of reference, external and internal. We have videos and we have manuals on each one of these sections. Now, they don't see this. Your prospect does not see the meta programs. Only the broker or the development person would see this. All right. So great stuff. Comfort zones, huge. I mean, how do you really know who they really are? By them taking the profile, and you'll hear it. If an extra large hum and haw, well, I got to talk to my Aunt Betty before I do anything else, or I got to talk to my wife. There we go. Make sure if you're going down this section here and there is going to be a partner involved in the franchise process, make sure that they take the profile as well. So now you know who they both are before you go anyplace else. Okay, Tom, that's what I got. Questions?
Great. Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much. And hopefully everyone sees, looking at this report, you can see how valuable this is to better understand the prospect that you're talking to and better understand how they're a fit for your company and how your company will fit them.
Yeah.
So let's open it up for any questions. I know if anyone has questions, raise your hand, type it in the chat box. We can unmute you here while we have Phil for a few minutes. And while we're waiting for people to do that, I will say I've had the good fortune of working with Brian for about 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
And so I know Brian well, and having worked with him and reading this report, it's exactly Brian, at least from my dealings with him. Brian may disagree, but he did make mention to me here. I'll unmute him here. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Brian.
We love you, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. There he is.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? Thanks for letting us expose you here. So
That's right. It was good. It was good to hear the explanation of all
Yeah.
the data.
And Brian, what was would you say that this was accurate, pretty accurate for you?
I thought I was looking in a mirror.
Yeah. It's really, it's kind of, in some ways you could say that's scary, but it's not. It's really just, you really are just telling who you are. And that's, again, that's half the battle. I mean, it's like any kind of selling process, although a broker doesn't sell, but as a coach or an advisor, you got to know who you're dealing with. And that's really, it delivers on that. So.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So Phil, how do people get in touch with you? How does this all happen here?
Yeah, so basically, you can email me that you want to be part of this or whatever. It's phil@zoracle.net. Or my telephone number is 949-466-3166. You can go to our website and you can take the profile there if you'd like. But again, I'll be real honest. Again, I've been at this a long time, but our pricing is pretty fair too. When you think about it, there are other programs out there are thousands and thousands of dollars, and that's not what we're about. We're about delivering the top of the top in a very fair manner, so you'll stay with us, basically. So yeah. It's worth the numbers. If you look at your cost per lead, and if this helps to qualify those leads, then that's how you should look at it on both sides, whether you're a franchisor or a broker. It's a big deal. So
great. Well, thank you again, Phil. I just put the website into the chat box there, so hopefully that pops up. You can click on it. Thank you for being here. This is absolutely fantastic. And again, for anyone who's interested in kind of watching this again or seeing some parts, we will have it posted next week for a replay. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone.